Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I welcome you to another episode of Muslima Open Talk. My guest today is someone who is going to add some spice to your life, and literally and figuratively speaking. When we start the interview, inshallah, you get to know more about her. Sister GANIYAT OYESOMI DAIBU is the CEO, if you may, of GNT Spice Home. Inshallah, she's going to join us now. Let me welcome her. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. It's so
MashaAllah.
awesome. Yeah, it's awesome to be with you this evening.
Alhamdulillah, I'm glad to have you. And I say thank you again. Jazakallah khairan for honoring the invite. It's most appreciated. I know you're a busy woman. I know. Okay, so I just gave a brief intro. I want them to hear from the horse's mouth. My guest, like I said, is someone who is going to show you and tell you how to add some spice to your life. You know, spice, yes, figuratively and literally speaking. So, Sister GANIYAT OYESOMI DAIBU, our one and only Ogbonge, the GNT doctor. She's the brain behind the famous GNT spices, and I'm really privileged to have her on MOT today, and I'm sure we'll learn more about what she does and how that can be beneficial to us health-wise and, healthy living and all. There's so much to learn. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I welcome you once again. Can you please tell us about yourself? Introduce yourself. Tell us, where did you grow up? Which school did you attend? What course did you study? Let's get to know you.
All right. Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you so much for having me on this your prestigious program. Like you have rightly said, my name is GANIYAT Oladayo Abike Oyesomi DAIBU. Most people popularly know me as Ogbonge GNT, Tarmac Queen, Spice Rose.
MashaAllah,
I think those are my names. I went to the University of Ilorin and I studied human physiology.
MashaAllah.
I didn't have any formal education in spices world. No university, no degree, no certificate, no diploma whatsoever in what's it called? In herbs and spices lifestyle. I normally tell people that my journey into that world is not a coincidence. It's a calling. It's like a ministry, because I didn't meet myself there per chance. It was circumstances that led to that journey. It could be bitter, it could be sweet for some people, but in my own case, it was a bitter. It were bitter episodes. There were bitter episodes that led into that journey. And something that came right from your depths, something that comes like an inspiration, something that comes like it's a calling. You get better by the day or the journey. So I didn't receive, let me say, I didn't receive any formal education. I only received inspirational education.
Inspiration.
So
wow.
Exactly. So that's where the journey was. And it has always been up to now.
Oh, MashaAllah, Alhamdulillah. So you said you attended University of Ilorin and you studied human physiology.
Yes.
Did you also grow up in Ilorin? Are you from there, or you are from a different state? You just went to school in Ilorin?
I'm from Osun State. I'm from Ikire, precisely. Yes.
Ikire. Wow, yes, wow. Nice place.
Yeah, but I grew up in Ife. I grew up in Ife, precisely.
Precisely, okay.
Yes.
MashaAllah.
I only went there to study, and after the studying, well, the son of the land did not allow me to leave. So I had to marry somebody.
From there, mashallah, mashallah. They know a good thing when they see it. Now, what do you expect?
Really?
Yeah, they have to grasp it. They say, no, this one, no, you are going nowhere. Yeah, you're right here. We are going to hold you down. So I really applaud them for taking that fast move. Otherwise, somebody else would have grabbed you. Mashallah, that's good to know. Alhamdulillah. Okay, so I know that there was a life-changing experience that happened in your life. I mean, something that was traumatic, and you've shared the story before. How I got to know about it is also because I read it when you shared it. I think about the time you shared it a few years back. So I can't remember the details. Can you please tell us what journey actually led you, considering that you didn't study it at school, and the course you studied, human physiology, even though it's got to do with the human body, it wasn't related to spice. So how did you move from studying human physiology to going into spice entrepreneurship? What journey? What happened?
In fact, I'm going to talk like I'm going to tell you a story of a girl, a very young girl who graduated from the university with second class upper, the best student ever produced, the best female student ever produced in our department for a very longer period of time. And the hopes were so high that she's going to get into the world of works fair, get a job easily. But alas, it did not happen. So one very fortunate day, she applied for a job in one of these federal parastatals, and she was on the journey of getting the job. She has done series of interviews, series of exams, and she was passing each stage of the process to become an employee of that federal job. So at the last stage, they traveled home. This young girl with her family, they traveled home, and she received a message from that federal parastatal that she is meant to come for verification of her results. And when the message came, obviously something that you have been in pursuit for over 2 years, the next thing for you is to jump into the car very early in the morning of the next day, fiam, and coming straight down to FCT Abuja. So on their way coming, they have traveled for over 7 hours because they were coming from the southwest. When they got to a particular place called Gwagwalada, the trailer was coming, and it was almost, I think, around 7 p.m. in the night. And this trailer, it was a one-way drive. At that time, they were doing the road. They were constructing the road. So this trailer lost its grip, and it collided with this car of this young girl. The husband was the one driving. 2 kids were in the car, and she never even knew she was pregnant because the accident happened January 22nd precisely. And when it happened, she had to be hospitalized. She sustained fractures. She sustained so many injuries. She was in the hospital for over 2 months, and that was how she lost that job. When in the hospital, the doctor said, "Look, madam, the way we're seeing this, your left leg, if something miracle do not happen, you get to be amputated." And they had to discharge her because obviously the leg has not deteriorated to that level, but they were speculating. So she got home with her family. The husband was still on wheelchair. She was equally on wheelchair. Their daughter was already in intensive care unit. She was getting better. And something just dawned on her that, why not start healthy living? Why not even start from the simplest, which is ditching bouillon cubes? That was the simplest to her, And why not stop the act of eating sugar? So she started removing sugar gradually in their meals. And she realized that bouillon cubes have loads of sugar. Okay, let me remove bouillon cubes. Of course, the taste was not so palatable, but she had to do it for her health's sake. So she did that. Gradually, after 6 months, they went in for normal routine tests. No, sorry, 3 months after, they went in for their routine tests. And the doctors were like, wow, what have you guys been eating?
Wow.
What's happening? There are changes. You know, you're because at that time I was having blood pressure. It was a conditional blood pressure as a result of the trauma of the accident. So yeah, the pressure became stabilized. So they were shocked, and obviously she just said, well, we couldn't do anything other than embracing healthy lifestyle, finding affordable things that are available within our disposal, that are so affordable. So, and she was documenting everything that she was eating. You know, she was writing them in her journal. I tried this today, I tried that. So that was in 2012. She never even knew she was going to do it as a business. She just knew that she's going to be enjoying it as her own personal lifestyle. Not until 5 years later. But remember, while she was on the hospital bed, she kept asking her creator, she kept asking God, she kept talking to Allah. Allah, I knew there's a purpose why you preserved me. Because this accident is beyond human imagination. You saved me. You saved my husband. You saved my 2 kids. A trailer climbing over a 21 tired trailer climbing over a 4 tired car. I mean, it's miraculous. God, show me the reason so that I will know how best to thank you. I will know how best to show gratitude. I will know how best to live a fulfilled life. I will know the purpose behind preserving me and my family. So that was all the things this young lady was chanting over and over and again, because she was confused. Many people were confused. But the reason did not come. Not until 5 years later. No, sorry, 3 years later. That was 2012. That was 2015. 2015. Yeah. This part of 2015, I've never shared it openly before. I think this is going to be the first time I'm sharing it openly. So
thank you for sharing with us.
This part, fast forward 2015. This young lady has an older brother. And this older brother's wife was pregnant for a baby, a second son. And immediately she gave birth to the second child. She was having breast engorgement. And they went to the hospital. The doctor said she had mastitis. That is just normal for some women when they give birth, and they placed her on antibiotics, and she was on antibiotics, you know, and within a twinkling of an eye, it's metastasized into stage 4 breast cancer.
Subhanallah.
And when that happened, they called the older brother of this young lady and said, look, this is your wife, this is what she's going through. We don't know how long she's going to live on this earth surface.
Allah Akbar. Allah Akbar.
Even though we've done the surgery, she's on chemo, but we don't know how long she's going to live. And this older brother called his younger sister and said, look, babe, this is the situation of things. And this young girl said, bros, if at all, she has limited number of days to live. She's going to live a happy, healthy, elated woman. You will see her, you will never know she was a cancer victim. All the signs and symptoms of someone that has cancer, she will not exhibit it physically. So that was the conviction. So this young lady just went into her research and started researching, what can we do? What can she? What can we eliminate? What do we need to? What do we need to eliminate in our diet? What can we incorporate in our diet? And throughout the 10 months that this lady lived, if you see her, you will never know that she had cancer, or she was on
Allahu
stage
Akbar.
4, or she was on 7th chemotherapy.
Allahu Akbar.
She even attended wedding ceremony in the family.
Subhanallah.
Nobody, but eventually she died. And when she died, when she eventually died, we buried her January 8th, and 3 weeks after her burial, the same husband, the older brother of this young lady, was coming home to see his children, 2 years old and 10 months old, and he met armed robbers, and he was shot and he died.
Subhanallah.
So the two of them died. So when he died, automatically this lady stepped in as the breadwinner of these 2 young kids. So when they brought these 2 young kids, 10 months old and 2 years old, remember, this young lady, she's jobless, she has nothing doing. Of course, she's just a normal girl on the streets, you know. So she sat down.
And the mother herself, a wife and a mother herself.
So she sat down and spoke to herself that, yeah, this is the clarity. This is the reason why Allah preserved her. Because Allah knew that something tragic is going to happen. 2 young sons are going to lose their parents, and you have to be there to take care of them. And secondly, you have to experience elder living yourself, and you have to have lived in another person that was having health challenges, and you would have helped her in one way or the other, even though we are going to take her soul eventually, and you've documented your journey, then you don't have any other option than to go out and tell the world and help the world with healthy living. So that was how the journey started. How will she start? What will she do? What is the first thing that she can do? How will she reach the world? Somebody that is in her own world. Okay, she doesn't have capital. Okay, but you have a 5,000 naira. Why not start selling moi moi? Why not start selling it as healthy moi moi for people? So she asked again, where will she meet these people that she's going to sell to? Okay, why not take it to motor parks? At least we have larger concentration of people there. Don't mind your hijab. Don't mind your level of education. Don't mind your exposure. Don't mind anything. What is important to you is your words, your service, the need that people want from you, and the little capital that you have that you can turn around without begging anybody. So that was how the journey started, and it somersaulted to what we have today. Without loan, without gifts, without grants from anybody whatsoever. So that's the story in a nutshell.
Wow, that was quite heavy. You know, at a point there, I wish it was a TV broadcast, and then we could say take 5. You know, because I know I felt the depth of the emotions. You know, narrating the loss of your sister-in-law and your brother, and within a short frame of time, we pray for the repose of their souls. May Allah reunite them in Jannah, and may Allah reunite you with them in Jannah. May Allah forgive all their shortcomings. But you know what? I want to take you back. That was quite, you know, I mean, within few years interval and then few months interval, going through such traumatic experiences at that level. I know you were praying for inspiration, but then what kept you going? Did you have a support system? Are your parents still alive? Did you have families supporting you, you know, friends? What kind of support system did you get going through that? And then after the loss of your brother, you know, the will and the strength that you had to even take up the challenge of having to parent two young orphans, considering that you are a wife and a mother yourself, and you have your own responsibilities. You didn't have a job. Where did you get that courage?
Well, I could say that I honestly, many times I ask myself, where did that inner spirit, that ruggedness, where did it come from? Because when I look back at my background, when I look back at the way I was raised, you know, I wasn't born with a silver spoon, but I was raised with comfort, relative comfort, you know. But I just like the most important thing at that time was I just have to fill that gap for my parents, because my brother was the first and I became the second, and automatically I became the first invariably. So I just have to step in. I just have to fill in the gap. I just have to find the courage within myself. I just have to speak the truth to myself. I'm someone that I'm more expressive. I'm between introvert and extroverts, you know. I don't really have large friends. I don't really have inner friends. Do you understand? So,
I understand.
in fact, many people say that I thrive better when I'm on my keypad, because when you get to meet me one-on-one, you'll be shocked that, is this really GNT, you know? I'm always on the full end when you get to meet me one-on-one. So, one thing I would say is my husband is a very, very supportive man. But I said one thing. I have my own 3 children already. 2 kids are coming in. The fact that my husband could allow these 2 children unconditionally into his house is enough for me not to break him further financially. It's enough for me not to break him mentally and emotionally. So it's enough for me to pick myself together and just summon the courage and do the needful. For 2 years, my kids could not go to school when these children came in. They had to stop going to school. My parents did not know, because how do I tell them? If I tell them, they will be like, wow, is it because of these 2 new children? That's why you are overburdened. I don't want them to feel bad. I don't want them to feel dejected. I don't want them to because they were already emotionally broken. Remember, they have lost 2 children. So I don't want them to feel further broken. So I just have to garner the strength within me. You know, I just have to tell myself, GANIYAT, nobody they pay your bills. You just have to rescue the situation legitimately and lawfully. So I think the episodes, the bad episodes, the mindset, the manifestation, the questioning of Allah every now and then, the affirmations I made, seeking Allah's face, and I keep telling Allah, I have a favorite Quranic recitation. I said, I love it so much. La ilaha illa ant. Subhanaka inni kuntu minaz zalimin. I love that prayer so much because it's full of manifestations, affirmations, and confirmations. It's a prayer that talks about acknowledging the glorification of Allah, believing that it's only Allah, acknowledging the adoration and gratitude towards Allah, and there's a question at the end of it that, oh Allah, I know I belong to the wrongdoers. I am asking you for your help. I am asking you for your favor. I want upliftment. I want contentment. I want you to show me the inroad. I want this. I want that. But if you refuse to give me, then who do you want me to go and talk to? Who do you want me to go and search and seek the favor from? If you refuse to show me the purpose, if you refuse to strengthen me, if you refuse to hold me firm, if you refuse to hold me strong, if you refuse to compensate me, and if you refuse to console me, who do you want me to go and meet? So it's like I'm challenging Allah, because exactly. So it's already is questioning, you know. It's those are the prayers that the prophet Yunus asked Allah. I know you asked me to tell people about your words for certain number of days, but after the end of certain number of hours, I felt dejected. I felt that you are going to curse them because these people did not change. And I decided to leave without listening to your words, without obeying, without waiting for your question, without waiting for your approval to leave. I left. So he's now asking Allah, I knew I am the wrongdoer, but I'm asking for your help. I'm asking you to forgive me. I'm asking you to deliver me from this belly of the shark. I'm asking you to save me. I'm asking you to take me as your slave and embrace me and praise me and cleanse me. But if you refuse to answer me, who do you want me to turn to? Who do you now want me to turn to? Should I turn to Billy Mafe? Should I turn to my father? Should I turn to my mother? Should I turn to my friends? They can't do anything.
They can't do anything. We are all at the mercy of Allah.
Exactly. So that has been my the sukkah, my corner piece, my core. And I listen more to myself. I ask myself questions. Ganiyat, this is your journey. You are not versed in the Quran. You are not versed in Hadith. You are not a preacher. You can be a scholar. But if this is your ministry, if this is your act of ibadah, if telling people about spices, healing the world, healing one person at a time is what you can do as your own act of worship, Ganiyat, you better do it right. You better do it consistently. You better find that spirit even when the chips are down, even when you are, even when you don't want to go again, even when the government are frustrating you, even when the situations are so terrible, even when things are falling apart, even when customers are not coming, even when the spices, even when the prices are skyrocketing, Ghanaians, you need to move. You need to go. Look at the price, not the price. Look at the goal, not the goal. Look at the ball, not the goalkeeper. You want to score. That has always been my fighting spirit. And I keep going. And I never looked back. I'm not saying it's easy. Remember, I've highlighted a lot of challenges. Is it the NAFDAC challenge? Is it packaging challenge? Is it price hiking? Is it customers? Tell me, is it logistics? Is it anything? Is it the Nigerian system on its own?
But I tell you, I know about it. I know about it.
But what is important to me is my purpose.
Exactly.
Ganiyat, this is your own purpose, and you need to get it right at all costs. You have to defy all the odds. You don't have to look at your exposure. If you need to ditch certain friends at that material time that you think they're going to laugh at your present condition, please, Ganiyat, carry them inside a trash can and put them one side. What is important to you is nobody they pay your bill.
Exactly, my sister. You did there. Wow, that was quite a motivational one, and I admire your spirit greatly. Honestly, I admire your spirit. Not many could, be so persistent and consistent. You had a goal, you set it, and you went for it. You knew that there will be challenges, and you already told yourself that no matter what, no matter the obstacles that comes your way, no matter the hindrances, no matter what comes your way to frustrate you, that you keep going. That is quite determination. And alhamdulillah that, the spiritual aspect was your bedrock, and then you kept going. We a lesson to learn there is that sometimes what we think we are capable of physically, we can get carried away thinking that, okay, I have the intellect to do this, and then we leave Allah behind. Subhanallah, you may move a little, maybe a few steps, you find yourself that you'll be stuck somewhere because you're still going to come back to Allah. You see, alhamdulillah, that the way you started, like you really sought direction. You asked Allah to give you hidayah. You sought Allah, and that's how a believer should think. You shouldn't think that, oh, I've gone to school, I have the intellect, I'm brilliant enough. What is it I need to do? I can always do research. You don't place it on yourself. Allah is the one who gave you the knowledge to begin with. So His mercy should be sought, His guidance should be sought in our journeys, in our decisions, whatever we are going through, and not to lose faith even when trials happen. Because for some people, what you went through would have thrown them off the day. They'll be thinking like I'm a Muslim, Allah is supposed to protect me, but Allah protected you, and you were even still questioning Allah, thinking that there's a purpose. There's a purpose for me to be alive, for you to have spared me in this ghastly, that should have been a fatal accident. You spared me for a purpose. Those are quite deep and introspective thoughts that we should think of when we are going through trials in life, because Allah will definitely try all of us. He's already told us that just because we say we believe does not mean He's not going to try us. He will try us with death, hunger, poverty, and everything. So alhamdulillah that at the end of the tunnel you saw the light. Alhamdulillah. And I was going to come to the logistics and the challenges. Some people will say that for somebody to think that you have the audacity to think all these stock kids that we've grown up knowing with the big names, I don't want to promote them, we all know them, with the big names, and this young girl, this small girl who nobody sabi, just wake up one day, come say she sabi mix spice together. What do you do now? You can't dey mix chemical. How long you talk about chemical for? What does she know? Spices. Some people will think that didn't get that kind of discouragement and from people when you started. Was there anybody who felt like maybe you were dreaming too high, like you were really raising the bar too high? Did you have anybody that discouraged you?
So many people. So many people.
Unbelievable.
When I started out, 2012, I wasn't doing it as a business. I was doing it within my cocoon. And the people around me, my close friends, family friends, when they come around and they get to eat my food, or I tell them that, okay, you can use this as tea, as in you can make it as tea form. And at a point when I started thinking of going into the business because of poverty, because I needed to make ends meet. I needed to make some cash as the bills were rising when these two children joined my family. And I told some friends, one thing about me is I hate distraction, and it messes with my brain. So I always do my things within myself. I always do it for a very longer period of time before I come out and tell people that this is how far I've gone, this is what I want to do. So it becomes a challenge for them when they put up challenges that, Ganiyat, what are you talking about? Firstly, you're in the north. The northerners, they like bullion cubes. You can't take that away. And they normally say that ile Latin cash or road, meaning that the people around you are your first early buyers. And these are the northerners. And their mainstream of cooking is with bouillon cubes. In fact, you'll be shocked with raw. They even eat it raw in their meals. So I said that's number one. Then number two, I don't have friends that could propagate for me. You know, I didn't go to, except for maybe my university. I didn't go to a big secondary school. I just schooled in a very local place in Ile-Ife. So I didn't have that tentacles of friends, you know, the gospel spreader. So I said, how am I going to navigate? Because this is a big challenge. Number one, it's a new journey to so many people, hearing for the first time that you can cook meals without bouillon cubes. That's number one. Then number two is the challenge of pricing. Bouillon cubes are very, very cheap. You can easily get 15 naira worth. So how do I tell somebody that this is the new wave? This is how to do it. This is exactly what our ancestors were doing. It's not new. I only have to reinvent the wheel.
Exactly. True.
Number three is, okay, even if I want to reinvent the wheel, our ancestors, they don't know about foreign and intercontinental dishes. If at all they were cooking meals without bouillon cubes. So you can see so many obstacles that I have even highlighted myself. Number one, my environment. Number two, the price challenge between myself as a spice producer and bouillon cubes. Number three, the taste board. The taste board that is already used to bouillon cubes.
Exactly.
Number four challenge is, if at all I tell them that let's go back to our ancestors, they don't eat jollof rice, they don't eat fried rice, they don't eat intercontinental dishes. They only cook our normal egusi, which you can make without adding bouillon cubes. Okay, Ganiyat, how are you going to marry all these things together and speak to your people? So those were the challenges that I had. And they said, Ganiyat, you can't break through in this industry. You can't. And I said, maybe because you don't know Ganiyat. One thing about Ganiyat is whatever you say it is difficult, that is where you find she goes for. Exactly. Whatever you say it is a blockage, that is where Ganiyat will start finding drill to drill herself. She might drill, or eventually she might lose the battle, but she must have learned certain things, and she will go back to the drawing board to the process. So I said, well, I don't give a damn and I don't give a shit. Insofar I have done it and it has helped me, it has helped my family, I'm good to go. So the first approach, I went to a supermarket in Nigeria, in Abuja here precisely, and I brought it to them, and they said, oh boy, take your kaya, carry your kaya, go open markets. You don't even have NAFDAC number. That was the first thing that they told me. I said, I know. I left and I carried my things and I sat back. I said, I have a phone. I have internet. What stops me from going on internet? I have a Facebook. And I went to my Facebook page and I started making compositions of messages. If you don't like it, I will like it myself. I will like my page.
You are blowing your trumpet.
I will comment under my page. I don't care. The following day, I will do the same thing. I will like. I will comment. I can make 5 comments under the same post. Is my page. Is my word. I hold nobody explanation.
Very well.
I was doing that gradually, and I was improving on my content delivery. And I said, Ganiyat, GNC is not you. It is a movement. Healthy living starting from bullion cubes is a movement. And if you want a movement, if you want to lead a crusade, you need community of people that must believe in your movement. And how do I garner this community of people? The next thing for me is to create an inner circle. And that was why I now created the BAE class. BAE. And it has been in existence for a very long time. So I looked at Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. I said, Rasulullah sallallahu, when he started his ministry, many people did not believe him. But you know what the man did? Oh, I love Rasulullah sallallahu. He's the best marketer. You know what he did? He went ahead and got some inner disciples. Those are Abu Bakr. Those are Umar. Those are the inner circle. So he convinced them. He made them to see the beauty. He made them to see the vision. He instilled in them the culture of Islam. You understand? So I said, I need disciples. And if you need disciples, you need to show them compassion. You need to show them love. You need to be transparent with them. You need not to hide anything. That is why my recipe is open. I tell people, you can only steal my recipe. You can't steal my sauce. I am the sauce. The pepper sauce. The atadiji. So I brought them together. And we started the journey. I started the journey. I started changing their mindset. You know, I was teaching them. I was telling them this is what you're supposed to mix together. So those are the early believers. They believed in me. They believed so much in the gospel. They believed so much in the ministry. You know, and they became the whistleblower. Because that was how the base became solid. And from there, we started moving. So I tell people that you don't have to talk to the larger group of people. You only need a small fraction of humanity to speak your gospel, your ministry, to speak with. Rasulullah had how many false disciples? But look at it today in the whole world. How many are Muslims?
Allah Akbar. Indeed. So if you can have 2-3 people that can believe exactly the mission,
exactly the mission, you are good to go. And you must be up and doing. You must be hardworking, and you must be ready to evolve. Because when I started out, I was using this nylon or a sugar.
I know.
That was where I was putting the spices inside. But do you know that at that stage, when I put spice inside and I tie it and I want to sell it, you see me, I will go and buy. Oh, subhanallah. The hustle don't tell.
Hustle is real, my sister. The hustle is real.
I'll go and get ribbon. I'll cut the ribbons into pieces.
See packaging.
Even though it is sugar nylon. That was the way I was selling the spices.
That effect alone.
Thank you.
It gives it a different look.
Thank you. You know, I tell people that 3 things you need when it comes to marketing or talking to anybody. You have to be able to enter their olfactory organ. That's the ability to smell nice. You have to enter their auditory. What is the sound that they are listening? What kind of voice is coming from you? What kind of authority are you putting down in what you are doing? Auditory. Then the visual. What are they seeing? How beautiful. Exactly. What's the color? So when somebody wants to buy spice from me, I will ask you, what's your favorite color? If you tell me it's blue, I will use blue ribbon. to package the
Okay.
spice. So when you see it, you'll be like, wow. Gradually, I said, GANIYAT, this is not where you are going to. Remember that you want to compete with the big brands. This is not where you are going to. So when I see some little changes, and I tell people, you can have 10 hustles, but you must have one that you want to dominate that space.
True. Very true.
I have sold food in secondary schools. I cook jollof rice. I take it to icon schools and I sell food there.
Wow.
I've sold pap. I've sold moi, which is obvious. I've sold roasted chicken and fish. I've sold what again? What have I sold again? I've sold food. Yeah. So, but do you know that I use the gains from those also to augment my spice business, because that is where I'm going to.
So you didn't lose focus. You didn't lose sight of the goal.
Thank you.
The main goal is to go to develop and build that brand, the spice brand. So you didn't lose focus.
I don't have money to build that brand. So what can I do? So when I sell my men, the little gains that I make from it, I look at the spice business. What new things can I inject into the business? Because I want to compete with international brand. That is who I am. I'm an excellent person. I love doing things excellently. What I will not do, I don't even start. And I love reaching the peak. So that is my core, because that's where my happiness lies. So that was what I was doing. From there, I graduated into that salad cups.
Okay.
Yeah, I will put it inside the salad cup. And in the course of transportation, you know that salad cup, if you just even exact little force, it's going to just open. The cover will open, boom, and the spices inside will just fall away. It's not strong. So within few months, I moved again. I've changed my bottles. I've seen so many other. When I see people that are still maintaining the kind of face up till now on their businesses, I smile within me. I've moved the face of my business from point A to point B to point C to point D. I said everything must always be user interface friendly. Whatever I'm doing must be user interface friendly. So from there, I moved to another kind of bottle, long bottle. I was using that. I wasn't still comfortable. I wanted something that, because that bottle, when you open it, it affects spices. So in the course of pouring it, the heat coming out of your meal is going to affect your spice. So I looked for a bottle that has silver inside. So the silver was inside, and when you sprinkle it, the sprinkle, the sprinkler is going to shield that spice. But do you know what? Guess what? That same sprinkler will just come out, poof, and the whole spice will pour in that there.
Oh goodness.
I said, GANIYAT, you have not reached your destination.
Not yet.
And from there, I evolved into another kind of bottle now that I'm using. That it's the cup, the cover itself. That is where the sprinkler is. So you only need to flip it one side, and your spices will come out. So you can see the transition of the journey. It wasn't a day journey.
Absolutely.
But because my eyes is on that goal, I want local brands to compete favorably with international brands. Even though we don't have support system back at home, or the support system is minimal, but that does not define who you are. If Rasulullah, who is an orphan, could make it, could become the greatest philosopher, could become the champion of the whole world in terms of religion, setting Islam in so many places, Then, my darling
Sallallahu
sister,
alaihi
who
wasallam.
am I? What's my identity
Hmm.
as
Hmm.
Ganiyat? And what's my
Hmm.
identity as a brand owner? And what is even the
Hmm.
identity of GNT as a brand on its
Hmm.
own? So
Hmm.
you can imagine the way we moved from the challenges of acceptance from people, how I broke
Hmm.
that odd.
Hmm.
I was up and doing, I was diligent, I was excellent on it. And
Hmm.
even though the profits might not be trickling in fast as at that time, I didn't still
Hmm.
wait, and I knew that I wanted to dominate. I want
Hmm.
spices to dominate everywhere. I want elder living to
Hmm.
dominate everywhere. I want every
Hmm.
household to have GNT brand in their kitchen
Hmm.
cabinet, and I can't be
Hmm.
everywhere. So how do I go about it?
Hmm. So how did you build? Oh, by the way, we skipped the part of you telling us the full meaning of GNT. Yeah, yeah. We are used to calling GNT. We don't even know if G is for Ganiyat or N is for natural or T is for tantalizing or what. So please, ma'am, I may lost I may lost the privilege of knowing the full meaning of GNT.
GNT just simply means, honestly, you know what? I tell people that the way GNT means to you is just the way GNT is. Whatever interpretation you
Hmm.
give GNT, that's just the meaning
Okay.
of GNT.
Hmm.
If you interpret GNT as G for growth, N
Hmm.
for nurture, T for
Hmm.
therapy, that is GNT.
Hmm.
If you interpret GNT for Ganiyat, that
Hmm.
is GNT. If you
Hmm.
interpret GNT for G for good living, N
Hmm.
for nature, T for
Hmm.
transformation, that is GNT. You know why I said that? Because GNT is a movement.
Hmm.
So it is the feeling that you get from GNT that defines GNT to you. It is not
You.
me that defines GNT. It is the feeling that you get
I
from GNT.
get.
If you get GNT as a personal person to you and it's Ghanaians,
Hmm.
that is GNT. But if GNT has become a transformational journey for you, that is
Hmm.
GNT. If GNT
Hmm.
appears to you as nature, as elder living, that is GNT.
Hmm.
Whatever interpretation you give GNT in your brain, because I want GNT to live in your mind. And it is the subconscious part of you. Whatever definition you give to GNT becomes your
Gentle.
second spin as GNT.
Hmm.
So if I
Hmm.
give a meaning to GNT, it might not synchronize with you. So I
I
want
get
GNT
it.
to synchronize with you. So whatever meaning is GNT is GNT.
Exactly. Very philosophical. Interesting. That's good too. That's really interesting. Um, During this lockdown, like it's a global pandemic and everybody felt the heat. Considering that we already have a system that isn't so encouraging, so to speak, that isn't uh, uh, going to give you the hope that things will keep running smoothly. Logistics, we have that, and and affordability sometimes. I got a pack of two, no, three of the video. The older pack you had. One of my juniors bought. She bought for herself and she bought me three, and she sent to me here. She sent it to me from Nigeria.
Wow.
And yeah, because I love spices myself. I love natural spices. I use natural spices. So it was as if she knew. I love spices, ginger, garlic, natural, even onions. It's almost as if there's nothing I can cook that I'm not going to add onions. I love natural spices. Um, so when I saw that, and then I was thinking that healthy living is for everybody, but sometimes affordability is a problem, especially with our own people. And how have we been able to deal with that? Do you have a price consideration for lower class people? Was it a factor in you deciding how much, or did you stay purely on production cost? Because even production costs, and then the packaging, the preservation, and the logistics moving from from the point of production, distribution, and to other places. How have we been able to find a balance such that people will still be able to afford
it? In fact, I received this question so many times. Even people are asking me that with the present onions price. And the amazing thing is people have even dissected the spices. When they break down my spices like this, I'll say, wow, is it really this? They tell me, Ghanaians, we can tell you that you put loads of onions in your spices. And how do you manage during this period? Price hike of onions in Nigeria, very crazy. Logistics, everything very crazy. How do you manage to stay true? How do you even make profits? Many people even sympathize with me. Sometimes they even dash me money. That Ghanaians, I can feel your pain. Let me just dash, even if it's 5,000 naira. Let me just dash.
I can relate with that. I can relate with that. Honestly, I can relate with that.
But let me break it down. Because you mentioned COVID-19 during the lockdown. So I'm going to break it down prior to lockdown, during lockdown, and post-lockdown. What did I do? Now, my intention has always been, I want GNT spices in every household. And if I want it to be in every household, that means I have to look at price control. I have to reach a middle ground. And how can I reach middle ground? I have to be able to fit in into the life of lower class, middle class, and upper class. And because that has always been the mindset of bullion cubes manufacturer. So I said to myself, Ganiyat, why not let us try a small sachet?
Okay.
So I did small sachet. That was about 3 or 4 years ago.
Okay.
And I sent it to the market for test run. And I realized that the acceptability was low among our people because of price factors too. Because to make we are online, so there are certain things I may not be able to say.
That's understandable. Very well.
But to make natural things in Nigeria, natural things, 100% whole, is expensive. That's a fact.
I can imagine.
To make, we have natural, we have artificial, we have fake, we have contraband, and what's the last one? I've forgotten. There are 5 that I've categorized. Natural is 100%. Then chemically synthesized, yes. Artificial, there are things.
Do you call natural organic? Is it organic or this one?
No,
not natural.
No, we have organic. Yeah, thank you. We have organic, we have natural, we have artificial, we have fake, we have contraband.
Okay.
Organic. To make organic is very, very, very expensive.
I know that.
And I can tell you that why many people are saying every now and then that GNT spices have really worked for me in terms of their blood pressure, in terms of autistic children, in terms of diabetic patients, people on weight loss programs. We have loads and loads of testimonials that keep on coming in every now and then. Why they tell you that GNT spices work for them is because we operate between organic and natural. We are not 100% organic.
Organic.
Yes, I have to clarify that.
Because of affordability. Affordability, I know.
Let me use turmeric as an example. Because of affordability, because of the technical know-how, because of the skill and expertise that we put into it. Let me use turmeric as an example. People tell me that GNT, they say turmeric is an anti-inflammatory spice. But why is it that they say that it works like Fensic? They say it works like Piriton. But why is it that when I use it, when I use it, I still feel pains? I said, my dear, because it will not work because of two reasons. Number one, the turmeric you are using is not organic. Number two is the point of harvesting your turmeric is not that stage that you're supposed to harvest your turmeric.
Okay, it's a technical know-how.
Then thirdly is because the mixture, because there are something we call bioavailability. That's the way spices are absorbed, digested, and excreted in your body. That is bioavailability. The way your body absorbs something. There are some spices, the way you take it, that's the way it comes out of your body, because they need driver.
Okay.
If there's no driver, that driver could be in another herbs or spices. If there are no drivers, they will not enter your bloodstream.
Like supplementary, like a complementary.
Exactly. That is turmeric for you, for an example. So turmeric needs a Capiscane family before it can actualize its mechanism of action in the body. That's why you have to add either black pepper, either your cayenne pepper, either any of this pepper family, pepperine family inside your turmeric before it can work. Now, that's just a digression. Now, look at this turmeric. Before you can get turmeric to have the loads of phytonutrients rather, inside, right? What stage are you harvesting your turmeric? Most farmers will want to harvest their turmeric when it has matured, because it's a rhizome. So when it's matured, it has plenty. It produces plenty harvests, which pays them as a farmer. But for someone that is working on healthy lifestyle, it doesn't pay you, because at that stage, that turmeric has lost certain phytonutrients. So if you are not going to meet a farmer to harvest their turmeric at that particular early mature stage, the harvest is not going to be bumper, it's going to be small. So they are going to charge you ×2 of the money.
Wow.
So you can imagine, but because of the understanding that I have, I don't give a hoot, because it is the result that I want. So I still harvest it. I still tell my farmers to harvest it for me at that stage. I'm going to pay them. So now, how do I now balance the cost? I've harvested, I've paid double to the farmers, logistics of raw materials, packaging materials, bottling materials, the raw materials itself, the staff strength, the overhead cost, the lights, the variable cost, so many costs that comes into play. Now, how do I balance all this? When we finish making spices and I sit down, I look at what finish a bottle. What is the cost that finished just this one bottle? So when I see the cost that finish it, I said, GANIYAT, you are not running charity organization. You are not a masalasi, neither are you a church. And if you are not careful, you have to you either go back to your village or you close off. And you have to pick between two things: either reducing the quality or reducing the price. So those are the two things that I spoke to myself. Either I reduce the quality or I reduce the price. And I said, as for the quality, I'm not going to compromise. But as for the price, how do I margin up the price? Okay, maybe I should reduce the quantity.
Exactly.
To mark up for the profit. So that was what we did at GNT Spices. We didn't alter the quality.
Quality.
And the price, we still want to make it affordable.
Affordable.
And because we know that a teaspoon of GNT Spices will go a long way in your meal. So we said, okay, let us reduce the quantity, whether by certain gram, very little gram. We are as transparent as anything. Eventually, when you still buy a bottle, it's still going to take you a longer period of time. So that was what we did. We didn't alter the price. We didn't alter the quality. We only altered the quantity.
The quantity
In a bottle.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
That was what we did. But even at that, it still did not, we still have to put it out.
I know.
But we just believe. I have a philosophy. I said, is it that you deal in volumes or you deal in trickles? If you want to operate in volume, then you can reduce the price or you can maintain a certain price markup. So we look at the turnover. So we consider the turnover. So we put ourselves in form of a bank. A bank will charge you 10 naira per maybe transaction. But look at thousands and millions of people. So by the time they multiply that 10 naira by the number of people, the margin becomes wider. So we now said to ourselves, it's either we use the price control system, or we use the quality control system, or we use the volume control system. So we expand our horizon, we expand our distribution channel, we expand our stockists, we expand our distributors, we expand into other places, so that the volume can be enormous. So even if we are making 5 naira on a bottle as gain, but the volume is larger, it will exactly, it will turn around. So those are the 3 systems that we operate at GNT. I'm sure many business people must have picked 1 or 2 things in our course of discussion.
Wow. I have, even though I'm not a business person, I've learned. I'm telling you, I wish that we had a longer time, because we haven't even unpacked. So we have not even spoken about GNT Intimate, and our time is up. Okay, please briefly tell us about GNT Intimate. Meanwhile, if you be small picking, I bet I won't make it come out now. This one are for adults. I don't talk, we won't talk, because now the other room matter now. So this is grown-up talk. Please, can you please excuse us if you're under 18 and if you're not married, this discussion is not for you, please. Okay, so please let's quickly talk about GNT Intimate. And
all right.
Quickly give us a lowdown.
Now, GNT Intimate was born out of GNT Spices. It was born in 2017 precisely. I think 2017. Because I realized that everything that we do stems from natural plants, natural roots. And as a Muslim, that's the part that has called the rot of silence. The gods of silence, have really invaded that intimacy part. So
I agree with you.
So when I
even in our Yoruba land now, it's a taboo. You don't even talk and don't go there.
Thank you. So when I was in that group, when I created that Bay class, that Bay group, when I was talking about spices and herbs, I don't want to talk about this on here, because I said everything that has happened, all this my journey was not a coincidence. It was something that led to that sexual intimacy that I ventured into. But the time is not right to talk about it now. So I came into that group and I started discussing about sexual intimacy with them. I created both-face class Mawoju Uche, bone face.
Bone face.
I was grooming sisters. I was changing their their mindset about sexual intimacy. The mindset. I was demystifying barriers. I was breaking barriers. At that time, I was not doing. I wasn't doing it as a business per se, and I wasn't even having a product per se at that time. But I was just using spices. I was demystifying mindsets. Then from Boniface, so many people moved to heavy chesters. That means they have graduated. I'm sure some people that are listening, some people that are listening or watching, they can relate to things that were in the class. So it was back to back. And do you know the amazing thing? They will come behind the scene. They will send me testimonials. I just have it. I just had a good time with my husband. I just did this. I was giving them tips and loads of, because I'm an emotional person. I love intimacy so much, So I was giving them tips. And within a short period of time, we were doing naming ceremony in that group. Many sisters without
Mashallah.
Alhamdulillah, I just had a baby called Asma'u. So when they get back, I will find spice name for those babies. Okay. In the group. So if you go back, I can name your baby turmeric, and I will look at the features of turmeric, the golden boy, the golden son, very spicy nature, very essential. I will give that baby names.
So, fascinating.
Some will give that. Very fascinating. So in the course of doing that, my sisters were not telling me that GNC. We are still suffering from some challenges, dryness, frigidity, libido drop, and it has become a wave at that time of Kayamata, and they were so skeptical of falling into shirk, of doing what is against the injunction of Allah. So they kept on talking. They kept on talking to me about that. Those were the feedbacks that was listening to. So, and they charged me with that responsibility. That since you are doing spices, you should know, because we trust you. We've bought your spices. You should know what and what to do, in terms of spices. And I told them, I said, look, Kayamata just means women belongings in Hausa. It's just like Erujawo. It just means the property, the package that is given to women that are handed over to
new
women.
Bride.
New brides. That's the meaning of Kayamata. So I want you to first of all have a clear mind, but it is left for individuals, their intention, their purpose of now producing Kayamata. So don't confuse it, don't mix it up.
Exactly.
Kayamata is good, Understand that language first. But what is not the content and what is the context? The content and the context of Kayamata. Now that you have charged me, I went back to drawing board. Obviously, I was doing certain spices for myself, and because I'm an African woman, I'm a Nigerian to the core, and I believe that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is said, I have created you in tribes, in races, in colors, so that you can appreciate yourself. That tells you that I have things that are meant for me as a Nigerian, that can work for my hormones as a Nigerian, that can work for my biological rhythm as a Nigerian, to suit my own personal need. I don't need to import.
Exactly.
Because when Allah was creating the Asians, creating the Arabs, He gave them what they need, what will work for their own DNA.
Every continent for their own blessing.
Exactly. So when Allah was creating me, was creating me as an African, He gave me things that are meant for my own DNA, for my own biological rhythm, for my own genotype. And many people, so that was when I said, okay, what do we have as an African woman, as a Nigerian precisely, that is going to work, irrespective of the kind of genotype that you have? And that was the sitting that I had. Remember, healthy living must sit on 3 tripod stand. Must be sustainable, must be available, and must be affordable. Those 3 things, the moment one is missing, it has lost the value of healthy living. So that is why most of our spices that we use for our food seasoning, they are within our reach in Nigeria. Because of our taste buds, or within some African countries, I don't have to go to India because we don't eat Indian countries. So, and I said, Ganiyat, what can you do? And that was when I continued my research, and I stumbled upon Mucuna purensis. That is cowlick. That is werepe. This is werepe. Exactly. This same werepe is something that you and I, we have ostracized, we have abandoned, we have a negative notion about it. Some people say it's for the witches. Some people say
once you touch the body now, you start to scratch, isn't it? Me, I don't know. The last time I was home, I was in Oyo. I was sitting there in front of the people that were hosting us. All of a sudden, my daughter went to play with the kids there. And then they said, Emma, sit there. Mommy, I said, wait, I said, the only thing I know about it is must not touch your body. I'm telling you. I said, the bossy just So I've not had anything positive about it. That's what I'm saying, really. Wow, you see? The beauty of nature, eh?
So, and I went into, and one thing about GNT is she likes to set the pace. I like unraveling African mystery, so that we can portray Africa, that we can feed ourselves healthily and wealthily. So I intensified my research on this werepe. And one thing about me is I just don't stumble upon something and bring it out and tell people to start using it. I take my time. I give it to inner friends to use, and let me see how it works on them. And I realized that it has a lot of dopamine inside, which is hormone that is responsible for our happiness, our mood, I remember my background as a human physiologist, so it enhanced my research. So that was how I became formidable as an African producer of cow itch, or we call it velvet beans. And I started packaging it. I started selling it. We converted it from that itching stage to syrup, from that itching stage to powder, from that itching stage. Hello? Sorry, the children.
We understand.
Hello? So, sorry, please.
It's okay. It's understandable. Carry on.
That was.
So you package also into powder. You package it into powder as well.
Yeah. So we have GMX. We have for the women. That naturally when you take it, I tell people, I said wellness. When it comes to sexual wellness, is not about taking it because I want to be high. You have to renew your sexual hormones. It's like taking supplements. And if you say something is supplement, it must not have adverse effects. It's something that I can take, just like taking any other supplement. Do you understand? So
Like the
it doesn't have,
multivitamins you take, for instance, omega
thank you,
3 fatty acid and all those stuffs.
thank you. So it doesn't have alcohol, it doesn't have
Mm,
cocaine, it doesn't have morphine, it
mm,
doesn't have
mm,
intoxicants, it doesn't have hard anything hard inside. It's just soft and
mm,
mild, and it has
mm.
always been amazing, amazing.
Mashallah, mashallah,
And that
mashallah.
was why people call me the doctor of the two mouths, of the two openings, the doctor
You
of the two
see?
openings.
Yeah, that's why I said add some spice to your life, figuratively and literally, when I was
So
introducing you. So I
that
knew.
was how the
Yeah,
name came out, the doctor of the two openings, the up and down. So
mashallah, mashallah.
if you can live healthily within those two confines, if you can control
mm,
what goes into your mouth and what goes
mm,
into the down parts,
mm,
use that, you will be able to live for a very longer period of time. Like what
mashallah.
Martin Luther King said when he was
Mm,
alive. He said three things is important: your sleep,
mm,
your sex,
mm,
and your food. And
mm.
the same thing the great South African legend said as well. Those three things
Nelson Mandela.
must be
Nelson
well
Mandela.
managed, maintained,
Managed.
healthily.
Mm, exactly.
So
Mashallah. Wow. That was
that's it.
quite an unpacking. You know what? I need to bring you back because I'm not even. We didn't even go into the cocoa matter. This one we just did in summary. Anyway, but our time is up, so we are going to manage it like that. But before we end this show, I would like to tell anyone who is watching that if you think you've heard her spoken, you have not seen anything, you have not seen anything, just go to her page. Go and read. She's got content. I'm telling you. In fact, you think that she's the one interviewing me. Can you see that she's supposed to add motivational talk to her resume? But she likes to stay behind the camera. That's why I had to go and drag her house because me, I know that she'll be ogbonge. That's why I have to drag her out. She doesn't know that I've watched her perform wonders before. I know that once she started, she's going to start downloading. You wish that she could continue. Alhamdulillah, Rabbil Alamin, mashallah. It's been such a pleasure. It's been such a delight. It's been an enlightening session. It's been spiritually uplifting. It's been emotional. And I know that I'm not the only person who has benefited so much from what you've shared with us today, your journey, and because today some people will just say GNT, GNT, GNT. Some people do not know how far you've come. Some people do not know what you've had to pass through to be where you are today, and they don't know the strength that you had to garner, and the level of faith that took you through that journey to come out as the admirable, hardworking, loving, and superwoman that you are that we see today. Mashallah. We love you so much. We love what you are doing. I admire your strength, your dexterity, your commitment, your level of growth. You are somebody who is always pushing to get better. I saw that, because I saw it. The old bottle is what I have, so I noticed that, after then, so many different changes, the packaging, and very admirable. I must tell you, very admirable. May Allah continue to prosper your business. May Allah
I mean,
continue to grant risk in your business and protect your family, grant you goodness, and provide for you. Continue to keep your little ones under
I
His
mean,
watch and care, and may He continue to grant you goodness all around. All around. You are representing us so well, mashallah. We admire what you do, and we continue to pray for your success. And
thank you so
I hope
much.
that when I call you next time, you will come, inshallah. So I can come and give us a little more. Okay, one thing we didn't get to talk about is that the urban living aspect and the intimate, GNT intimate. When it comes to the issue of fertility, there are certain things that some women also don't know about their hormones and their system. So I want anybody who is watching and listening to understand that this is beyond pleasure. It is about a lifestyle, healthy living. You live better, and you enjoy your life. You enjoy your life physically, emotionally, psychologically, mentally. So please visit DNT Spice page home. I'm telling you, you will not be disappointed. Loads of useful, beneficial content you'll find. I've gone through some of them. And me, I'm nearing retirement age. So those of you that are just starting, the younger ones, or the ones that are preparing, please consult her. She will tell you what to do. Even they say that all this she be the one in the kitchen and the other room, everything all together. Consult GNT, Ogbonge, doctor, abeg. She's got stuff to share. I know that for a fact. Mashallah, we have come to the end of today's episode. I'm happy to have had the privilege of chatting with my darling sister, Sister Ganiyat. OYESOMI Abike, lovely one, Abike. So, inshallah, another time, inshallah. So, Jazakallah khairan for today, for coming. I appreciate you. I appreciate you honoring my invite, inshallah. So, thank you everybody for watching today's show. Please share with everyone. This is a loaded information. There's so much to learn. So, please share with anybody that you care about. So, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Inshallah. Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.